RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for hanging out. Sorry for the delay. As soon as I started to try to start the show, the camera wasn't working. It was just all black. So I had to do some restarting and whatnot. So guys, I know you're very flexible. So thanks everybody. I see the chat room filling up, and if you're on any other channels, come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster to hang out in the greatest chat room in American history. I mean, why not, right? It's true. I don't know. I'm looking like whatever tonight. I had my hair cut today. It feels better. It was getting very long. I was looking like Crystal Gale there for a minute. So, all right. What are we talking about today? Well, let me just do the plugs. For those who are new, like I said, this is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. And, we need a lot more of that. So if you can, please become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin to keep the show going and growing. And what else? SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. You can find us there. Apple. Give the show a good review on iTunes. That helps get us up in the algorithm. I don't know. The what do you call it? We were one of the shows that we were doing a couple of days ago or recently. I was discussing how I was looking for something on the Apple Podcasts, and I just searched politics, and all the choices that came up were fascists. The worst. I'm seeing them in my mind. Like the Ted Cruz podcast. Just the horror. Who's the other one? Charlie Kirk. Like all of these incels and freaks and haters and morons and people who hate democracy, hate America, that kind of stuff. Incapable of functioning in a free democratic society. Now, I have to tell you, as those words were coming out of my mouth, I was because I've heard. So I say they hate America, they hate democracy. And I have been criticized for saying that because they're saying, I've heard that the criticism is you sound like them. They say that liberals hate America and liberals hate democracy. So you're just like, saying the same thing. But okay, I will bring the receipts. Okay. I don't know if you can hear those alerts that are going off. I don't really know why that's happening right now. So hold on. But here's the thing. Okay. Republicans, and prove me wrong. I'm open to it. I want to be wrong. They lack the fundamental maturity to function in a democratic society. They hate democracy because it gets in the way of, well, first of all, they are, the inherent racism makes them hate democracy because they can only stand it up to a point. And that point is if white men are in control. So that's why we're living in a time of a declining democracy because it is a response to the backlash of our progress, right? So the more people get a seat at the table, the more Republicans, conservatives, right-wingers of all their stripes get more triggered by democracy because they want the government to work for them. And that when that happens, that means everybody else is in their place. I don't know if I'm clearing it up a little bit, but Yeah, they hate America because they're confused by America. And tonight we'll have a couple of videos. For example, we're discussing the latest abhorrent, disgusting, needless bloodbath in a school, in a middle school, and they're pulling out the same old bullshit excuses, which only verifies what we say, that they are that they really don't want to fix the problems, that they don't believe in America, that they don't give a shit about the general welfare. That's for sure. So and that's why they attack government, because when they say they hate government or they want small government, what they really mean is that they hate democracy. And all you got to do is look at their actions, limiting, trying to block people from voting. They're in other countries that are actually functioning. Once you turn 18 or whatever the voting age would be, you're automatically registered. The fact that they have everyone jump through a million hoops and then they play their dirty tricks, voter suppression, voter caging, kicking people off the voting rolls, shit like that, it just speaks volumes. Now, the other day, as I was watching Morning Joe, which I do, and it gets on my nerves. I don't know why do I do that. The minute I wake up, I have to get aggravated. And they were discussing the turnout in Georgia in the primary elections. That the turnout is really off the charts. So, and Joe Scarborough was saying how that proves that when Democrats decry Jim Crow as Republican voter suppression tactics as Jim Crow 2.0, he was mocking that, saying, see, the Democrats called this old Jim Crow 2.0. But that has, the people who turn out to vote, not, doesn't mean it's still not Jim Crow 2.0, because people are pissed off. The turnout has nothing to do with the laws that they passed to kick people off the rolls and to not count the votes and to put unqualified fascist flunkies in positions of power to determine who actually gets to rule. And frankly, I don't know about you, but I am sick of the tyranny of the minority. And I really, I hope that we have all had enough. I don't know. Have we had enough of the greed-centered, right-wing Republican bloodbath? That the death cult? Have we had enough? I know I have, but let's start with something that happened personally. When I was posting on my own I usually, I don't really post on my own personal Facebook, but this latest shooting, I decided, F this, I'm just going to post on my own personal page. I don't really post politics on there. And I'm really not on there much, frankly. I use it for the Tarabuster Facebook page and whatever, and look at, somebody got married or whatever the hell. So I can convince myself what a loser and I will die alone and shit like that. You know what I mean? So, but, it always looks like everybody's having such a great life, right? It must be hard for young people today, and we know that because they got to look at, everybody's wonderful life. You're getting like the highlight reel, and it's bad. It's hard enough for me when I see how everyone's having they're all going on vacation. They're all, I haven't gotten out of the tri-state area in years. But which reminds me, actually, I am getting out of the tri-state area next week. I'm going to Robin Kincaid's Horn Inn. I guess they're calling it the Horn Inn. I don't know. For her show, Head On Radio Network. There's going to be a gathering, and I'm going to be attending that so we won't have a show next Friday. The show I'm leaving on Thursday morning. So our show will probably be Wednesday, and that will be the show that will be on Progressive Voices that week. That's Sunday. Pardon me. So, all right, as I was watching the horror, living in this bloodbath, the armed madhouse, I don't know. Did we talk about this last show? Because I was saying, what should happen is Republicans should be forced to go clean up the blood that is left behind. Hold on. We'll be right back. So what I was saying about these, the Republican enablers, that just like Eisenhower made the German townspeople clean up the carnage in Auschwitz and the concentration camps, he forced them to go look at what they had done. Now, did these people put anybody did they put them in an oven? Did they kill them? No. But they stood by and watched. They saw the trains go by. They knew what was happening. So, and they enabled it. When their neighbors disappeared in the night, they were happy to take their belongings. They were happy to take their jobs. To fill. It was great. It was great for them, and that's what happened. So they knew what was going on, and Eisenhower was smart enough and knew that let these fuckers clean up and let them confront what they've done. And I agree as far as the people. It's like the Emmett Till's mother having an open casket. These right wingers, the Republican Party, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott, Marco Rubio. Let the NRA scumbags, let them go to this classroom. Look at the decimated bodies of the children. And then tell me all about your Second Amendment? Because, you don't have a right. You have I wish they never put this fucking Second Amendment in there, the founders. But they also wrote well-regulated. What is wrong with the Democrats? Why don't they simply repeat well-regulated, well-regulated? The well-regulated militia is the National Guard. Okay, all right. So getting back to what I posted on Facebook. So I wrote, like Eisenhower made the German townspeople clean up the carnage in Auschwitz, we need to send monstrous Republican Party of Texas, and I tagged them, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, and the NRA, and all their disgraceful ilk to clean up the bodies of school children whose death they enabled. And then I continue, what part of well-regulated don't these ghouls understand? Squeezing your incel beer body into BDUs and strutting around Walmart is not a well-regulated militia. Oh, I left out it with an M16 or an AK, whatever. Who will be next? Whose child will be next? Where will it be? At a supermarket, concert, park, workplace, or school? Money in politics is the root of all evil. And I wrote, how much longer will we allow the fascist right to terrorize and disgrace us for the sake of their self-serving greed? Okay, so I got a comment in response. This person, I mean, I have like whatever. I have a lot of people following me on Facebook, just personally, but I don't have. I don't know everybody. Some of them I do know. Some of them I know this person marginally. I think I know him from comedy. Because I don't remember him particularly, and then I was like, "Who is this person?" And I went and looked at our mutual friends. So we have some mutual friends who are also comedians. So I think I know him from comedy somehow. Anyway, his name is Matthew, and this is what he wrote. So I'm reading this as a glimpse. We're getting a glimpse into the world of a right winger, into the mind, whatever excuse for a mind in the right wing propaganda mill. This is the consequences of Republican propaganda. So he writes, his name is Matthew. He writes, how is this the politicians' fault? Okay, how is it the politicians' fault? Okay, that's the first sentence. You understand they simply serve the interests of their constituents, most of whom value their right to own and shoot guns. Okay. Yeah. I know that's kind of a vile gesture. You can't really say it, but the politicians have little to do with it? What greed are you talking about? And I was like, when I was reading this, I was like, this fucking person for real? Is this person living in the same world? No, they're living in a bizarro world. What greed are you talking about? Obviously, they're not that smart, this person. You know, they're really not informed. What greed are you talking about? How are people who want guns greedy? I'm talking, so obviously it's over his head. I'm talking about the politicians. We are in this boat, and there is no other excuse for this. We're in this boat because of money in politics. We are dealing with mass shootings daily because of money in politics. The filthy fascist Republicans are doing nothing about the freedom to go to a concert, to go to school, to go to the supermarket. You know, we have freedoms too. Not just the freedom, our freedoms have to live, to freaking live, are superseded by some fucking incel who can't do one push-up, so he won't go join the well-regulated militia. And then they talk about the mental health in a country that has no goddamn universal health care. So give me a break. We are in this boat because of greed, money, and politics. You dumb fucker. Matthew, you dumb fucker. And this is there will be a lot of salty language tonight. I keep saying I won't curse, but then shit keeps happening. And I do have to stop cursing because whatever. Who cares? I don't know. I actually heard Joe Scarborough say bullshit on the air. And I guess, things are getting... and they do say shit on shows now, right? That's allowed. Like bullshit and stuff like that, right? Am I wrong? Maybe not on network. Well, I did hear it, actually, on... Probably later in the... Whatever, who cares? Let's get back to this. How are people who want guns greedy? How's here's the topic and here's it going right over your head, fucker. And why not blame the liberal politicians too? Yeah, okay. Like Schumer, who voted against a proposed safety measure because he wanted his domestic terrorism bill passed first. Like, get your ass out of Fox News. I mean, this is someone who is sucking on the pus oozing from the body politic that is Rupert Murdoch. I mean, how am I? I'm saying this wrong. Because we decided Rupert Murdoch is that's it. The fissured hemorrhoid oozing pus he's the fissured hemorrhoid on the body politic. And the pus that oozes out is the shit that we hear on Fox News, and these assholes are licking it up. Right? Am I right? Or am I right? So, he voted against what are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, frankly, but all I know is that the Republicans voted against, what did they do? Here is it. The day after this latest massacre, they voted against a domestic terrorism bill. Because everything's scaremongering about gun grabs. We need a goddamn gun grab. There is no sane reason to have a fucking assault weapon. You know, you want a long gun, you want a flint lock, revolver. You want a musket, go right ahead. There's no reason. Why not get a Gatling gun? Why not a nuclear weapon? Why not a drone with a nuclear weapon on? I mean, where does it stop? But that's beside the point. Why? There's absolutely zero reason to have an assault weapon. Unless you're in the National Guard or the Army or the services. But the thing is, even if you were, I was in the National Guard. You can't walk around. You're not walking around the bases with guns. Nobody's walking around with guns. You're not allowed. And the only people allowed are the military police. It's like in civilian life. You can't just walk over to the armory and say, I need my gun. Or weapon, as it's called. And then you don't have ammunition. And when they give you your weapon, you don't have ammunition for it. It's not loaded. So, why should we, if the military understands the danger, you can't just allow people walking around. And we're trained. I was trained to fire an assault weapon. But, you can't just walk around with this shit. Why, if you're not allowed to do that on a military base, why should we have to endure it in civilian life? When we're just going to the damn store. We're going to I cannot handle it. Children being murdered. Parents now will never be the same. The grief that this country that these greedy fucking Republicans inflict on the people is abhorrent. And it's inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable. I don't care if you are if you're just an average Joe Republican, you're part of the problem. Why not? Okay, let's finish. Well, let's continue with this fucking asshole's response. Why not blame the liberal politics? I don't know what he's talking about. He voted against because he wanted a domestic terrorism bill passed first. What proposed safety measure, prick? Is that what they said? Well, give me the fucking receipts. What proposed? Let's look it up. Well, if Republicans proposed safety. What proposed safety measure could it be? Anybody got any answers? Any clues? I'm sure whatever it is, it's bullshit. Proposed safety measure. Because I highly doubt that this is accurate. because he voted against a proposed safety measure because he wanted his domestic terrorism bill first? Well, what's the fucking difference? The fact is, the Republicans voted against the domestic terrorism bill. They blocked it. So, what's your point, dummy? They don't have a point. That's the problem. That's the absolute disgusting problem. Let's see. Gun law. Yeah, the only thing is they, as history shows us, every mass shooting since Columbine, Republicans have loosened gun laws. Greg Abbott in Texas has made it even more. It's easier to get guns for everybody. Guns for all. Walk around with guns, jerk off in guns, fuck around with guns. But whatever you do, don't join the well-regulated militia. Because you're a militia of one. I don't understand, guys. I really don't. What is wrong with Democrats? Just saying the talking points. What part of well-regulated militia don't you understand? Wouldn't that shut them down, like, right out of the gate when they start with their fucking bullshit about everyone has a right to a gun? You just say, excuse me, what part of well-regulated, don't you understand? Well-regulated militia, you scum? Is this monster who killed these children, is he a well-regulated militia? What about the monster who killed the shoppers at Top Supermarket and on and on? I mean, every single day there's another gun massacre in this fucked up country. Because he wanted to vote for his proposal. Well, why is he excused, the scumbag writes? I don't see how anybody can logically blame any of the people you blamed. Oh, really? So you can't blame Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham or the Republican Party of Texas or Greg Abbott or Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Tucker Carlson or the NRA? Yeah, you can't blame them. They're just as innocent as the white-driven snow. This person is dumb. You understand? I'm reading this because it's like, I hate these right-wingers. I don't want them to die. In fact, I want them to have universal health care and retirement security and living wages in decent working conditions. But, I hate their stupidity and their complicity. Really, that's what it is. It's complicity. I don't see how, this is a dupe. He is a dupe from head to toe. And it's an example of how propaganda works. That's why. That's why Nazis and every other authoritarian, they take over the media. That's why Rupert Murdoch is the fissured hemorrhoid, oozing pus from the body politic. He is sickening us. He weakens the body politic. That's why Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand said the reason they don't have assholes running around screaming at each other's faces about masks during the lockdown or whatever, because they don't have the poison of Rupert Murdoch dividing people. That piece of dirt. It won't end when he croaks and burns in hell. It will, his scumbag spawn has taken over, and he's not rebelling against his filthy fascist father. He is continuing the madness. These people are monsters. Okay? How anybody can logically blame any of the people. You see, this is also why I do this show, because I don't have any time for these assholes. There's not enough time in our lives to go point by point on this fucking jerk off's statement and prove them wrong. We do it here on the show, frankly. Like, you don't have enough time in your life to continuously correct morons who are dumb and propagandized through fascist asshole media. And the reason they're attracted to that kind of the lie. They're attracted to the lies. They're eager dupes of the right-wing fascists and the con man. You know, they're tax cheating, draft dodging, dictator envying con man, because of some soul sickness, and that is racism, frankly. So I would imagine this person is a racist piece of shit. I'll be right back. All right, well, continuing with this person on who is a friend, quote unquote, on Facebook, and didn't like that I said that the Republicans should go clean up the blood in the classrooms, just like Eisenhower made the German townspeople clean up the concentration camps. So let's see. Seems like counterproductive and misguided hatred. Yes, so intolerant. Unlikely to solve a problem that requires understanding and compromise from both sides. Have you seen the statistics? What compromise? How about how about bring back the assault weapons ban for a start? They let it expire. Republicans, and then they refuse to reinstate it. Why it ever expired is beyond me. But that's why this is what Republicans do, and this is what they want to do with anything else and everything else that's decent in this country. Like socialist security. They want to sunset it. And Medicare and Medicaid, because they want to get us back to the system the founders fought a revolution to escape. And that is the truth. Meaning that we are nothing but peons in a system where the rich run and own everything, and everybody else fights for the scraps. And if you have a problem, you go to the church. And if you, I don't know, if you serve a lord, maybe they'll trickle something on you. And what is it with this fucking bling, 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 bling? Why am I getting this? I don't know if you guys can hear that. It doesn't matter. I'll deal with it later. Every time I get a fucking email. Why? I don't even have this stupid email app open. Bling, 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 bling. I changed nothing. I touched nothing. So I don't understand. All of a sudden, things start blinging and beeping at me. All right. Compromise and understanding from both. How do I don't understand. No, I'm sorry. I cannot. I'm done. I can't muster understanding for somebody who thinks it's okay for an 18-year-old to prance around with an assault weapon. I don't give a shit who it is. I mean, or that's understanding. Who can understand that? The whole world is looking at us with disbelief and pity, frankly. Who could understand why? There's no comprehending. Comprende. Yeah, I speak in Spanish here too. There's no there's no reason. Who can understand it? Nobody understands it. And it boils down to greed. That's it. The only reason that we're dealing with this is because of money in politics. Okay, it gets worse. Even here, this made me, this inflamed me. Even David Hogg, that arrogant Parkland survivor, you piece of shit, who was going to solve the gun problem, says the NRA is a good organization. Okay, I'll read it again. Even David Hogg, that arrogant Parkland survivor who was going to solve the gun problem, says the NRA is a good organization. No, he doesn't. No, he didn't. In fact, I looked it up. I don't know where he's pulling that out of. What ass? It's probably Rupert Murdoch's pustule. But I was like, did he say that? No, he didn't. In fact, they were suing the NRA. And they were celebrating when it was bleeding money and declaring bankruptcy. So, but this... the way he described David Hogg, that arrogant Parkland survivor, like, fuck you. This is a young man who went through a traumatic experience and took that and is taking that experience to ensure or try to make this world a better place, try to ensure that young people don't ever have to experience what he went through. That arrogant. They don't like him, because he's got in there, he has this like look about him, I suppose, that they don't like. They don't like him because he seems kind of, elitist, or I don't even know what's the word. Like, he seems like gay, right? I'm gay. I can say that. He's got they don't like him. He seems, he's smart. He's not, I don't think he's gay. I'm just saying, this is why they don't like him. He has he's smart. He's not afraid to speak up. He's got, he's like somebody they would bully if they were one of his peers. That's the truth. He's someone they would make fun of if they were in college or high school together. They would mock him. They'd try to beat him up. Meanwhile, he would be doing, going on to a good school. He would be he would be excelling and, involved and a decent person. You know what I mean? But they can't handle that. They would be the assholes doing nothing with themselves and just standing around like they do now, criticizing people who are trying to make the world a better place or have value, that aren't a bunch of dolts, aren't idiots, aren't racist. That anybody who is in any way decent is threatening to them. So, but they just hate this David Hogg. You know what I mean? Oh, but they love people like Charlie Kirk, right? Or Tommy Lawrence, like absolute morons. Evil, too. Evil little pricks. Like, who's that one we played? Let's see. Oh, I can't remember his name. The one with they all look like Wolfie. They look like the products of wolves with the eyebrows. And the one who we played the video of him, of the English commentator just decimating him. But I can't remember his name. Somebody on the chat will remind me. And before I keep going, I want to say thank you, Richard W., for your super chat. Another great show, Tara. Thank you. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Thank you so much, Jim, for always putting the cover charge on the table. So, and I hope you guys enjoy our Friday get-together and our other get-togethers. We had a pretty good crowd on Wednesday. I guess it's, there's not as many people today. Maybe it's because of the holiday coming up, Memorial Day. Got a lot to memorialize in this country. So, okay, let me keep going. With the lies this fucker is spewing. But it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't, there's not enough time in the day to convince somebody who is completely closed and closed-minded and dumb. Obviously, he has issues. He's got hate, the arrogant Parkland survivor. Yeah, he's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, hunting him down. This person who has no doubt has PTSD, a young person who survived a massacre that these fuckers enabled. They hate him, though. This kind of unhinged, illogical, tribal hatred detracts from one's ability to take you seriously as somebody who wants to solve a serious problem and not just score political points. I mean, what these people score political? Everything's political. When they're always crying, why are you being political? These are the political. These are assholes who are so political, quote unquote, they cannot handle democracy. They are they operated from such a political stance that they are literally trying to tear down the democratic republic that they pretend to love. They're so political, they can't even say the freaking name of the Democratic Party. That's how political they are. Score political points. Why do I give a shit about political points? I just want to live in a country where kids can go to school without being turned into red mist. I want to live in a country that has, that has e pluribus unum as an action plan, where we don't leave anybody behind. I want to live in the country that was promised in our founding documents. This is Tara Devlin. I'll be right back. Score political points. Fuck you. Sometimes that's all you can say. Fuck you. Here we go. Against the politicians and voters you hate? Yeah. And then there is only one disgraceful party responsible, and his name is Salvador. Yeah, it's just him. It's only him. We have more shootings. We have massacres every day, but, there's nothing we can do. What are you going to do? No harm, no foul. Nobody else on that list feels the slightest bit of disgrace over this shooting, nor should they. Well, I know that because they're sociopaths, most of them, and I would say all of them, really. And I went, I responded to the asshole, but I said, wow, I had no idea you were one of those faux news victims/viewers. You should know that the socialist publication called Business Insider conducted a study that revealed that people who watch faux news are less informed than those who watch no news at all. But I guess it's all about confirmation bias, though, as you desperately search for the superior moral justification for enabling the needless, horrific massacres of school children. And that's what we're dealing with, right? The superior just desperately searching for the superior moral justification for doing nothing about the murder of school children. That's what they're engaged in. And I said, how is it the politicians' fault? Everything is politics. And then I gave him the Bertolt Brecht quote, which I've repeated. The worst illiterate is the political illiterate. He doesn't hear, doesn't speak, nor participate in political events. He doesn't know that the cost of life, the price of the bean, of the fish, of the flour, of the rent, of the shoes, of the medicine, all depend on political decisions. The political illiterate is so stupid that he is proud and swells his chest saying that he hates politics. The imbecile doesn't know that from his political ignorance is born the prostitute, the abandoned child, and the worst thieves of all, the bad politician, corrupted and flunky of the national and multinational corporations. Now, what do you think is going on here? Exactly that. What greed? Start with money in politics and end with the fact that the USA stands alone with the consistent enabling of death. David Hogg is a survivor of another massacre that the monsters you clearly support enabled. And you have the right to join a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated. But you don't have a constitutional right to own an assault weapon. You want to fondle an assault weapon? Join the well-regulated militia. I did. It's called the National Guard. But right-wing monsters would rather deflect until the next massacre. And it's absolutely disgusting and disgraceful, but not unexpected. Frankly, I don't have the time or the desire to waste breath on someone entrenched in the right-wing cesspool of indecency and deflections. Tune into Tarabuster sometime. Perhaps you'll learn something, but I'm sure you have other intentions. But don't worry. Liberals created America while right-wingers were pining to be trickled upon by the king, and we'll save it from them again. I mean, that's the truth. That's how you say it. That's how you shut them down. Liberals created America. When they start crying about liberals created America. While conservatives were pining for the king to trickle on them. And that's never stopped. Whether it be the king or Donald Trump or some other fucker like Elon Musk. It's the same thing. They want Big Daddy in control to save them from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place because they can't manage a democracy. They can't handle it. They lack the maturity. And that's why they must be shoved into legally and peacefully into history's trash pile. They have to be. They are a minority party with a minority view who represent a minority of people. They need to be the minority. And the fact that we're in this boat is because of money and politics and the tyranny of the minority. Now we have to endure the tyranny of the minority. And I'm frankly sick of it. I don't know about you. And here, right before we went on air, I saw this article. I don't know if you guys agree with me. It says, Beto O'Rourke says, the people at the NRA convention are not our enemy. Okay, I have to disagree. Of course they're our enemy. I'm not saying do anything to them, but these are what are you kidding me? What is this? Another example of when they go low, we go high? Of course they're our enemy. They are enabling this. I saw a couple of freaks who are at the NRA convention, and they were interviewing them. I should have grabbed the clip, but they were these two old fuckers, and they were like, every time this happens, Democrats try to politicize it, to take away our guns. Every time. Why should it be? What do you mean every time this happens? And you're okay with that, right? Just the casual every time. This doesn't happen in every other country. Just here. And it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. Here's a stat. There. Look at this. I don't know if you can see it. Gun ownership and homicide rates in developed countries. Look at everybody else from the New York Times. Everyone else down there. Canada, France, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Australia, Portugal. Look at the United effing states. It's like not even close. The outlier. Ridiculous. And that's okay, right? And this is a very sick country. They're not our enemy? I don't know. Do you agree, guys? What do you think? People in the chat can give me your opinions. Of course they're our enemy. I think. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying, like, go and do something. But we have to fight these people enough. Yes, they're our enemy. These are people who right now are excusing this bullshit, the murder of children, with the same old canards like video games and the lack of fathers, shit like that. Bullshit. It has nothing to do with guns, though, right? The fact that these fuckers get guns. Let's and look at this Ron Johnson. Here's another one.
He legally bought his 2 guns, and now, of course, we didn't have the paper trail and the record. To your point, but do you think that would require maybe stiffer background checks?
It's all. That's not going to do.
No matter what you do, people fall through the cracks. You can't identify all these problems. You can't arrest somebody for a crime they haven't committed yet. These are difficult issues, but again, the solution lies in stronger families, more supportive communities. I would argue renewed faith. We've lost that. We stopped teaching values in so many of our schools. Now we're teaching wokeness. We're indoctrinating our children with things like CRT.
Can you
telling some children they're not equal to others and they're the cause of other people's problems.
But these shootings.
The fuck out of here. Telling people they're not equal to others and they're the cause. Is that why? Kids are dead? Is that why? Oh, is that why the asshole went into the top supermarket? Telling people they're not. Yet, according to Republicans, you hear him? You hear this scumbag? This Ron Johnson traitor who spent the 4th of July in Moscow? This piece of dirt? Talking about the same shit that will ensure more death, more destruction. Talking about, I mean, they know they are full of shit. You understand? That's why they're evil. It's not like some moron like the asshole who posted on my Facebook page. It's just like some idiot. These people know better. They understand that they're full of shit. They know that the rest of the world doesn't have to deal with this problem. They know what it stems from. And they're not doing anything about it. Wait, hold on. I have to, resume the last.
There's a sickness.
Oh, wait.
We stopped teaching values in so many of our schools. Now we're teaching wokeness. We're indoctrinating our children with things like CRT, telling some children they're not equal to others and they're the cause of other people's problems.
But these shootings, there's a sickness long before CRT and wokeness, right?
Well, yeah, I think
long before. Can you fucking believe this? Long before CRT and wokeness. They're telling us we're woke and that children aren't equal to other children because they're woke. I don't even know. The cynicism, the absolute evil that we're witnessing, the banality of evil. And welcome to Mark C. in the chat room. Nice to see you. Right. Nice to see you, Mark. It's nice to see everybody. Jim and Haiku and Winston and Paradu and Richard. And everybody. everybody who's watching but not commenting, I see you too. And if you're on any other channel or whatever, like I said, come on over to youtube.com. And JD, I see you, JD. Come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster and join the conversation. The best chat room on earth. But I don't even know. It's just absolute evil. The banality of evil. How do they live with themselves? Scrambling to recycle the same old shit. Now, I can't stand it. I won't be able to stomach it, and I won't do it to you. I just went on Twitter and I saw, Trump is speaking at the NRA because he's an evil piece of dirt. And I can't. According to I just see this clip in there, and it says Trump blames the same shit. Locked doors. The doors weren't locked. That's the problem. What we need to do is turn every school into Fallujah. That's the Republican answer. Can you believe what kind of world, what kind of country do they want? Well, we know. They don't care if we have to deal with death after death after death, needless death. They enabled 1 million dead. If Trump and the filthy fascist Republicans didn't start with their bullshit about masks and the coronavirus and their freedom, we wouldn't be there wouldn't be 1 million grieving families in this country. But the message is, I don't care. Sucks to be you. I got mine. But they can't say that. They can't just come out and say that I don't give a shit. I'm being paid by the NRA. We get buku bucks from these blood-soaked bastards, and I'm out here, I'm doing what they want. They are my constituents, not these dead children and their parents. My constituents put money in my mouth, and they shove it in every orifice, and I'm like I'm a whore. That's what they are. No offense to sex workers, but that's who they are. They loved them a long time, right? Am I being racist now too? I'm just quoting I am just quoting Apocalypse Now. It's but that's the cynicism. I just hope that we're done with it. That the American people are sick of the excuses. We know that they're full of shit, and what they're saying, their excuses, it has to be falling on deaf ears, because the people are just sick of it. It's up to our goddamn tippy top of our heads with these excuses. Hold on. Here's something from the Huffington Post. They did a mashup.
When 9/11 happened, we didn't ban planes. We secured the cockpit.
Have one door into and out of the school, and have that one door armed police officers at that door.
There should be one entrance in and one entrance out in all of our elementary and all of our middle schools.
Infrastructure protection is very important, and it's clear that when we look at the flimsy fencing in this particular school, that things could have been done differently.
There are billions of dollars sitting out there after COVID for schools that we should redirect that money to allow the schools to use that to have one central point of interest to protect these kids.
Having potentially teachers and other administrators who have gone through training and who are armed.
What about getting a department that can look at young men, that's looking at women, that's looking at just social media? Overall, the solution is renewed faith, stronger families, more supportive communities.
Yes. It's all fathers and doors. They don't have any fathers and they don't have doors. And what is this Herschel Walker? That's another example of the cynicism of Republicans. They just pulled this person who has darker pigment out of wherever, and they're like, okay, yeah, you're our guy. You're our Johnny Bravo for now, because they got a black guy. We got a black guy, and he's like, doesn't he have a head injury from all that football that he played? Because he certainly sounds like he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Listen to what he says.
Department that can look at young men, that's looking at women, that's looking at just social media.
What does that have to do with what happened? Nothing. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But it's part of that montage. But I think that's because they asked him about it, and he's coming out with this young man looking at social media and looking at women. You see, so better. I just want to contrast something here. So let me see what you guys are thinking on the chat. When Beto O'Rourke says they're not our enemy. Here's, I'll have to play it off the Twitter's machine. Here's banned from the bowling alley, Bobert.
No, our policies are the policies.
Let me start from the beginning.
So we need to be electing the right kind of people. I need fearless conservatives to serve alongside of me. I don't need people who will go along to get along, because there is no compromising with the left. I think we're all starting to see in every area we cannot negotiate with terrorists.
Hold on. I'm back. This is Tara Devlin. Did you hear what she said? We cannot compromise. We can't work with Democrats because there's no negotiating with terrorists. Let's continue.
Democrats are not wanting to give you an inch.
Really?
They only want to take their miles. The negotiation process is
piece
over.
Of dirt.
We have to take a stand and say, no, our policies are the policies that actually work for people. I cannot point to a single policy that has been passed in the 117th Congress.
Yeah, because you're in the way.
That's really been
really well. The infrastructure bill and the COVID.
So we need to be elected
and,
the right kind of.
Did you hear that? So we get Beto on one hand saying the people in the NRA, they're not our enemy. You know, when they go low, we go high. And then we have Lauren, banned from the bowling alley, Bobert, saying we're not going to work with them because we don't negotiate with terrorists. So who's the terrorist, first of all? They are, it's absolute psychological projection. They're the ones storming capitals, not just the Capitol in D.C. They try. I mean, these are the people screaming and running around with M16s. It's not the M16. It's that. What's that? It's the AK something something. Ridiculous. We don't negotiate with terrorists. They can't. Like I said, they can't even say the name of the party. And that's another thing that drives me insane with the Democrats. They won't even say anything. They'll sit there. I've seen it on corporate media where they'll have a Democrat and they'll have a Republican, and the Republican will say the Democrat Party, or this Democrat politician, and the fucking Democrat just sits there. It doesn't say anything. I would say, excuse me, we're adults. Say the name of the party. Just that's how you're disrespecting us, and that's really not a place we can start with negotiating. We can't start from a place of utter and absolute immaturity and disrespect. AR-15. I'm sorry. Thank you. I say M16 because I was in the National Guard. I'm not a gun person. That was the only automatic weapon I knew. M16. I know that's whatever. AR-15. Okay. I'll try to remember, trucker. What can you say? I'm sorry. I am sorry. Oh my God. Well, it kind of broke my heart when Jacinda Ardern, was speaking at Harvard, and I was like, wow, I wish we could have a leader like that.
And knowing at least someone. I'm used to walking into a room in New Zealand and knowing at least someone. It is one of the beautiful things about a small country like my own. And while this moment feels incredibly daunting to me right now, I do take comfort knowing there are around 30 New Zealanders studying here. And statistically, at least one of them will be my cousin.
All right. I didn't have to show that.
Now, where I come from, we have a parliamentary representative democracy. Without giving you a litany of fun facts on New Zealand that you're unlikely to need again, here is the very brief version. We have a mixed member proportional system, which essentially means every vote counts. And it's ensured that our parliament better reflects our communities. Almost 50% of our parliament are women. Almost 20% are Māori, the Indigenous people of New Zealand. And our Deputy Prime Minister is a proud gay man and sits among several other rainbow parliamentarians. In the past 10 years, we have passed laws that include everything from the introduction of gay marriage and the banning of conversion therapy, right through to embedding a 1.5-degree climate change target into law, banning military-style semi-automatics and assault rifles.
And then she gets a standing ovation. It only took one massacre. We used to have an assault weapons ban. Funny how the death rate went up after it expired.
And the decriminalisation of abortion. On the 15th of March 2019, 51 people were killed in a terrorist attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. The entire brutal act was live streamed on social media. The Royal Commission that followed found that the terrorist responsible was radicalised online. Now, in the aftermath of New Zealand's experience, we felt a sense of responsibility. We knew that we needed significant gun reform, and so that is what we did. But we also knew that if we wanted genuine solutions to the issue of violent extremism online, it would take government, civil society, and the tech companies to come together and change the landscape. And the result was the Christchurch call to action. And while much has changed as a result, important things haven't. The time has come for social media companies and other online providers to recognize their power and to act on it. That means upholding their own basic terms of service. That means recognizing the role they play in constantly curating and shaping the online environments that we're in. That algorithmic processes make choices and decisions for us, what we see and where we are directed. And at best, that means that the user experience is personalized. But at worst, it means the user experience can be radicalized.
That's right.
Let's start with transparency and how algorithmic processes work and the outcomes they deliver. But let's finish with a shared approach to responsible algorithms, because the time has come.
But she's 100% correct. And we were discussing how when you search politics, all you get are conservative commentators. That's absolutely abhorrent. And we know what we need to do. It's not about infringing on anybody's freedom. And she also went on to discuss how democracies can die, as we know, and we're in a decline. Democracies are declining, and this is the problem. In my opinion, it is money in politics. The corruption in our country, it's built right into the system, but also the tyranny of the minority. If we were able to pass the popular policies that the American people are calling for, if we were able to pass the Build Back Better plan, because in spite of Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, if we were able to protect voting by passing the John Lewis Act and whatnot, those which were nothing but restoring the Voting Rights Act that this illegitimate Supreme Court overturned when nobody was asking them to. The American people, you see what they do? It's like we have gremlins in the machine, and the majority of people are trying to have a government that promotes the general welfare. But we have these gremlins just gnawing away at the pillars of democracy constantly and putting poison pills wherever they go. For example, here's one thing that just drives me insane. I mean, there's so many, everywhere we look, everything that Republicans touch, they destroy. Let me see, post office. Like, for example, Louis DeJoy. They put this Louis DeJoy character, they shove him on as the Postmaster General, and the post office buys gas guzzling cars. Wait, hold on. Now, the postal fleet was set for renewal, and hold on, post office, and in Build Back Better and the normal people who know something a little bit about this stuff, the Postal Service was going to buy an electric fleet. Okay. But Louis DeJoy insisted, and he got his way. Is to buy gas. So you're going to invest all this money into, why? Why would you put it into cars of the past? Especially when we're confronting climate change as well. So that's just an example. And hold on a second. There is a lawsuit going on, frankly. Here it is. Let me see. New York City joins the lawsuit. States sue over U.S. Postal Service decision to buy gas-powered trucks. California and 15 states that want the U.S. Postal Service to electrify its mail delivery. I mean, it makes sense. We here in New York. I live in New York. There are the MTA fleet of buses are electric. Why? Why wouldn't you? This is the way it's good. This is the way of the future. The people want this. You know, I have an electric car. My car is hybrid. You know, it's a Prius. It's a Prius hybrid electric. And it's, you know, whatever. It's a lease, you know. And what I got to tell you, every time I'm out there and I plug it in, I live in a co-op, and we have a parking lot that has electric chargers. So they had the wherewithal to put these electric chargers in recently. And there's only 3 electric cars in the lot at this point. And I'm one of them. But I got to tell you, people come over to me all the time. They start talking to me about the electric car. They want the electric freaking car. That's the way it's going. They ask a whole bunch of questions, and they're like, yeah, I'm getting one. Like their next car is going to be an electric. Some people, they're not buying cars now, but when they buy a car, it's going to be an electric car. And I don't know if you've noticed every ad. I haven't seen any ads for cars that aren't electric. But anyway, doesn't it make sense? I mean, this says everything about the Republican Party, that they shove this unqualified flunky who wants to line his own pockets, and that's what he does. And he's in there to like a gremlin in the post office, making it suck, making the mail go slower, destroying it from the inside. And then when a contract comes up to renew the postal fleet, he forces it to buy gas-guzzling vehicles when everybody wants electric. Everybody else, but they are getting paid. You see what I'm saying? So Louis DeJoy they're just prolonging the inevitable because they want to line their own pockets. So 3 separate lawsuits filed by the states and environmental groups in New York and California asked judges to order more thorough environmental review before the Postal Service moves forward with the next generation delivery vehicle program. I mean, and think about what this looks like to the rest of the world. Isn't it embarrassing? As the world continues to evolve, Republicans, like the albatrosses around our national necks, are dragging us back, just dragging us back. Whenever we try to make a move forward. What is this? The only obsession with gas cars is that they're getting money from big oil, that somehow they need to keep the big oil machine going a little bit longer, because all their pals are getting paid. So the plaintiffs contend that purchases of fossil fuel-powered delivery vehicles will cause environmental harm for decades. Of course it will. The lawsuits could further delay the Postal Service's efforts to replace the ubiquitous delivery trucks that went into service between 1987 and 1994. Louis DeJoy's gas-guzzling fleet guarantees decades of pollution with every postcard and package, says Scott Hochberg, an attorney for the Center of Biological Diversity, referring to the Postmaster General. And why the fuck is he still in there? Attorneys general from 16 states, thank goodness, right? But hopefully, this is the other thing, they don't run into Republican judges that were shoved on the bench, just like the Nazis shoved their flunkies into the judiciary of Germany to nullify the progress or anything that had anything to do with the general welfare. 14 of which, so here we go. Attorneys general from 16 states, 14 with Democratic governors, so also 2 Republican governors, have sued in San Francisco. The separate lawsuit for the Center of Biological Diversity, Earth Justice, Clean Air Now, Casey, and the Sierra Club was filed in the same venue. Another was filed from the National Resource Defense Council and the United Auto Workers. All 3 of them target the environmental review underpinning the Postal Service's planned purchase of up to 165,000 next-generation delivery vehicles over the next decade. And now this fucker wants, he wants the majority of them to be gas guzzlers. It makes absolutely no sense. Once this purchase goes through, we will be stuck with more than 100,000 new gas-guzzling vehicles on neighborhood streets, serving homes across our state and across the country for the next 30 years. There won't be a reset button. The Postal Service defended the process it followed under DeJoy, a wealthy former logistics executive and Republican donor. That's why he was appointed by Trump, the piece of dirt. The Postal Service conducted a robust and thorough review and fully complied with all of our obligations under the National Environmental Policy Act. A spokesperson, Kim Frum, said in an email. Well, Kim, how much longer, Kim? I hope you're proud of yourself, Kim. You know what I mean? It's never hard to find co-conspirators. It really isn't, because people who are weak and have no interest in the bigger picture, or the only ideology they have is self-interest. It's very easy to find these people. That's how democracies and republics die. You find willing co-conspirators who want to cover their own ass, and it doesn't matter who it doesn't matter that so many died for democracy. Whatever, they're getting theirs. They're getting paid. They got a job. She's getting paid. So hey, here's Kim Frum to weave the bullshit. The percentage of battery electric vehicles was doubled to 20%. But environmental advocates contend that the Postal Service's environmental review was inadequate and flawed. Of course it was. This is what Republicans do. They fix the facts around the policy. And if there is an environmental review, they just half-ass it. It's like the FBI investigation that never happened into Brett I Like Beer Kavanaugh. Right? That never happened. Why not? Why isn't it happening now? The Republicans, when they pull their dirty tricks and they are successful, the Democrats just go, they got us. Oh, well, it's Justice Kavanaugh. You know what I mean? In fact, if the shoe was on the other foot, we know that Republicans would never stop. They would never stop calling Beer Bond Brett illegitimate. I don't know. Democrats, please, I hope you listen to this show and get some talking points, because we are on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. We stick together, we win. We have the talking points. Liberals are the patriots. E pluribus unum is our action plan. We don't leave anybody behind. We're capable of functioning in a democracy. There's no reason to apologize for that. Leave these fascist right-wingers in history's trash pile where they belong. My name is Tara Devlin. Keep evolving without them. We stick together, we win. I'll see you soon. All right. I'm back. This is Tara Devlin. What's going on here? How come I can see myself? Let me see what's going on. Is something happening with my stream? This is so weird. I see myself, but this Jacinda Ahern video is still up. Right? That's weird. Fucking Jesus. Can you see me? What's going on here? Tell me what you see, guys. No, I see the stream. I still see this video. And it's not changing. Something happened. Something must have happened with Ecamm. That's very bizarre. I wonder if I can show you what I'm seeing. Let's see. I'll show you my computer. You see what I'm saying? No, you can't see me. No. Ah, fuck. What the fuck? Fucking Ecamm. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Because as long as you can hear me, I guess. I'm going to be little on the screen. And there's going to be Jacinda Ahern. I guess it could be worse. Let's play this Ted Cruz video. Fucking Ecamm. Here's Ted Cruz blaming absent fathers.
Tragedies like the events of this week are a mirror, forcing us to ask hard questions, demanding that we see where our culture is failing.
What is going on? I hate you.
Absent fathers, declining church attendance, social media bullying, violent online content. It's never been about guns.
Son of a bitch. It's never been about guns. Holy shit. What is going on? Guys, I'm really sorry about the technical problems. It's just that Ecamm must have had an update again, and it's like fucking me over. I just gotta make sure. Are you guys hear me and see me, right? So good. Jeez. Nothing. Oh, see. Look at that. There was nothing. What the fuck? Fuck. I hate you, Ecamm. Can you see me now? It's back to normal. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Ecamm, you know, you hear me and see me. This is so bizarre. Okay, I'm not going to touch anything. So, how long? So everything was like screwed up. You're saying. That's incredible. I wonder for how long it was screwed up. I hope it's still being recorded. Hopefully it was still being recorded. Jesus Christ. You know, you're trying to do a show. And it's very bizarre because I have a couple of... I guess there was an update on Ecamm because now there's like new buttons on my machine. That's probably why the camera wasn't working when I first logged in. And now there are new buttons. It says preview mode. Like, stop fucking with my life, Ecamm. You know what I mean? Like, stop with this. Stop making my life more annoying. I know. Like, stop. I'm trying to do a show. And they, like, give us some warning. You know what I mean? When you change the interface. God in heaven. All right, whatever. I'm not playing any more videos just until I figure out what the hell's going on. But let me see. I just, you know what? One of the major things that we have to continuously, in my opinion, hammer home is the tyranny of the minority. That the Republicans are a minority party. That they represent a minority of people. I mean, a large minority. I mean, is that, I guess it's a contradiction. A large minority. Here's from the Daily Kos, and this is an article that was written in 2021 by the, it says Stephen Wolfe. Even though the Democrats, remember, 2021, even though the Democrats narrowly won a majority in the Senate this year, the institution as a whole gives Republicans a massive undue advantage, and has done so for decades. To illustrate this, Daily Kos Elections has compiled a spreadsheet that calculates the popular vote for the Senate going back nearly 3 decades, and also shows the proportion of the country's population that the senators from each party represents. And it's a long thing. I won't show it. It was kind of confusing to me, but anyway. The implications of this data are astonishing. As shown in the chart below, which I'm afraid to show you because I don't want to push any buttons, but you can imagine, Senate Republicans have neither won more votes nor represented more Americans than Democrats since the late 1990s. Despite that fact, the GOP has controlled the Senate over half of the time, and developed that a development that has not gone unobserved. Okay, and we'll get into that in a second. Senators are, of course, elected to a staggering 6-year terms, with a third of the chamber up every 2 years. To determine the popular vote for any given Senate, therefore, we've combined each party's vote totals for every senator, for every Senate election over a 3-cycle period. However, since different election years have different... Wait, I'm getting distracted because there's a fucking ad that has like a guy's mouth. It's really annoying. Okay, stop that. It's like some guy's mouth coming at me. I have enough nightmares. Okay, Senate election over 3-cycle period. However, since different election years have differing levels of voter turnout, that complicates the task of aggregating votes across multiple years. Okay, let's get to the bottom of this. The figures for 1998, for instance, include all Senate contests from that year. I'll just get to the friggin' point. Republicans have repeatedly won control of the Senate despite losing the popular vote and representing states with a minority of the U.S. population. From the year 2000 through 2004, and again in 2014, and then again in 2018. That imbalance has only grown more extreme. Today, the 50 members of the Democratic caucus represent 56.5% of the 50-state population. Get ready. Compared to only 43.5%. Now, that's a pretty wide margin. For the chamber's 50 Republicans, meaning Democrats have tens of millions more constituents, but the same number of seats. Democrats have likewise won millions more votes than Republicans across the 3 most recent election cycles. But if the Republicans had won just 1,018 more votes in New Hampshire in 2016, they would still control the Senate in a 51-49 spread today, in spite, that's what it was, in spite of the public's decisive support of Democrats. I mean, you're talking like near 60% to near 40%. You want to, you want to average it up, right? It's unbelievable. And you think that, let me ask you guys, if this was the other way, if the shoe was on the other foot, do you think Republicans would ever stop talking about it? That, let's say, Democrats represent fewer people and receive fewer votes, but are in the majority. You think that they would ever stop? Oh, look at Ray. He's cute, right? Ray, honey. Where'd you go? Oh, there he is. Ray. Come here, boo-boo. Come here, little one. Hi, honey. Come here, honey. Ray, come. He's wearing a Thunder shirt. Ray. Come here, Ray. Come here. Oh. You're a good boy. We match. We're both wearing Thunder shirts. Look at Ray. It was going to be a big thunderstorm today. So we had to put on his Thunder shirt. He looks good in it. You're looking good, kid. You're a good boy. You could stay. You stay here. Because Tara Jr. is working from the bedroom tonight. Right? You're a good boy. He kind of, look, we're like wearing the same clothes tonight. We match. Okay. You're a good boy. Yes. Okay. Where was I? Republican minority rule in the Senate has already had far-reaching consequences. 5 Supreme Court justices and many more lower court judges were confirmed by Senates where the GOP majority was elected with less popular support than Democrats. And this is another thing. Same thing. It has to be hammered home. Those right-wing hardliners are now poised to use their control over the court to attack voting rights in this, and here we are, to attack voting rights, and of course now they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Striking, where was I? Hardliners, voting rights, and preserve Republican gerrymanderers while striking down progressive policies that people want. That's why they vote for Democrats. Or, for the most part. We know we have some problems, some problematic ones, right, Ray? Right, little one? The same minority rule has also paved the way for massive tax cuts for the rich under George W. Bush and Donald Trump that have facilitated an explosion in economic inequality. Now, what a different world we'd be living in, right? The world where we want to live in, that normal people voted for again and again and again, but yet we have the tyranny of the minority. The Senate's malappropriate, and bias toward rural and white voters who favor the GOP in disproportionate numbers have become the most critical institutional threat to democracy, even more than the Electoral College. It's unbelievable. Given the propensity of the party controlling the White House to lose seat in the midterm elections, there is a significant risk that Republicans will regain the Senate in 2022. God help us. God help us, Ray. Even though the Democrats may once again win more votes, you see, and represent more people than the GOP. This threat of minority rule will continue for years to come. Put another way, Democrats need to roll up decisive wins in multiple election years just to have a shot at a bare majority. But with the nation's population increasingly concentrated in just a handful of large states, that control... wait. I'm reading it wrong. the control of it. Wait, I'll let him down. I'll let you down, honey. All right, go ahead. I could see his tail started. He was getting like, let me out of here. I wasn't holding him. He was just, he's the way that is. He gets that way. He's Ray. What can you do? That's him. Democrats need to roll up decisive wins in multiple election years just to have a shot at a bare majority. But with the nation's population increasingly concentrated in just a handful of large states that control a tiny fraction of the Senate, the chances for majority rule could grow even worse in coming years. And this barrier doesn't even address the Senate filibuster, an accident of history that Sinema and Manchin. I mean, like, those two. Oh, my God. Wait till history gets a hold of them. Seriously. Where the main use has been to block civil rights laws. That's why Sinema is such a son of a, such a horrible, I'm trying to tone it down. To talk about the filibuster like it's this great tool for compromise when it's been used to block civil rights laws that the majority of the American people want over the tyranny of this minority, this filthy minority that's done nothing but shame the American people and the American experience. They've been, now prove me wrong, they have been an international disgrace. What's the disgrace, right? Like when the when the Antifas fought Nazi Germany and helped liberate Europe from the same fascists that the Republicans admire at home. And the soldiers with darker pigment came home and had to go back to living in Jim Crow laws. That was all in the South, all in these minority states that have their fingers around our national neck. But really, when you think about it, it's like all these minority, assholes have been. This is the tyranny of the minority. It's enough. I don't know. The main use of the filibuster has been to block civil rights law, and now asymmetrically benefits the GOP. Republicans' main priority of enacting tax cuts for the rich and appointing conservative judges can already be managed with a simple majority vote, while Democratic priorities such as safeguarding voting rights and where I just hit the damn thing. Son of a bitch. I lost my place because I hit the space bar. Okay, here we go. Simple majority votes, while Democratic priorities such as safeguarding voting rights, protecting the environment, and reforming democracy require supermajorities. Can you believe this shit? Right? I mean, all of the horrible policies that have been inflicted on us have been inflicted by a minority. A tyrannical minority that doesn't know its place. You want to talk about people knowing their natural place. These fuckers don't know their place, which is really in the permanent minority. These fascists are not capable of being the majority because look at what they do. They can't handle diversity. They can't handle decency. And they certainly can't handle democracy. They think diversity is a weakness when it's our greatest strength. That's what makes America exceptional. A nation of immigrants. A nation that works for the general welfare. I mean, of course, it's all aspirational. But being a nation of immigrants is not aspirational. That's who we are. Unless you're a Native American. But That's it. We are a nation of immigrants. I mean, it's just so, talk about like self-loathing. They hate this country. How can you say otherwise when they hate diversity in a nation of immigrants? When one of the first things these fascists did when the con man squatted in the White House despite receiving fewer votes is take off the on the Immigration and Naturalization Services mission statement, take off the first line that said the United States is a nation of immigrants. They took that off because they hate it. So if you hate your very essence, how can you say you love this country? You can't. And if you are a patriot and you got a problem with diversity, isn't it your patriotic duty to seek help and get to the root of why you hate diversity? But instead, Republicans make it everybody else's problem. Oh, it's our problem. Our problem is that we are woke, right? And what does that mean? That we respect others? That, I mean, used to be PC, right? Now they still use that term, but woke is the new PC. And what was PC? PC is just being a decent person, being considerate, living and letting live, being respectful of others. E pluribus unum, that's being PC. If someone, is trans and they say, call me this pronoun or whatever. The fuck is going on out there? You say, okay, that's being woke. That's PC, and not saying the N-word. Treating people with dignity and respect, which is really not that much to ask of somebody. And it should be, something that is taught to children. Because, hate has to be taught. Hate. Now, I'm thinking of the damn comment from that asshole on my Facebook page. He's talking about hate. You hate. Like, everybody hates them. But how is it hate? To expect and just, really expect somebody to do their fucking job, and legislate decency, dignity, and democracy. And that's what they're doing. But the thing that these Republicans are talking about now is, of course, after this latest massacre, they're just biding their time. You understand? They're just holding their breath until this all blows over and we forget about the dead children. Right? Oh, shit. I hit the movie.
Tragedies like the events of this week are a mirror, forcing us to ask hard questions, demanding that we see where our culture is failing. Looking at broken families, absent fathers, declining church attendance, social media bullying,
you fucking moron,
violent online content. It's never been about guns.
Same shit, different day.
We need serious funding to upgrade our schools, to install bulletproof doors and locking classroom doors. Ultimately, as we all know, what stops armed bad guys is armed good guys.
How much longer are we going to take this shit? How long have we been hearing that? That absolute bullshit. And like I say, it proves what we always say here, that they have absolutely no interest in a functioning society. They absolutely don't. They hate it. They don't. I mean, because it's like, it's for example, if you really care, right? If you really want to help, and you want your country, somebody faces a problem. Let's say you have a sickness, an illness, and you go to a doctor, and you're like, I have this pain or whatever, and they tell you that no, your problem isn't that you need treatment. You need this kind of treatment. Here, take this medicine that might work. They tell you, no, you know what? Your problem is that you have an absent father, or you have video games, or you're too woke. Your problem is that you expect everybody to treat everybody with respect. You know what your problem is? You didn't lock the door. Right? And you do those things, but you still have this pain. And it gets worse. And then it spreads all over your body. And you go back to this charlatan, this piece of dirt, and you say, it's getting worse. My pain is spreading. And now it's more frequent. And they say, you know what your problem is? You have an absent father. And you play video games, violent video games, and you have you're online, and you don't have a locked door, and you're too woke. You just you think that everybody needs to think that CRT or whatever the fuck, some bullshit. And then what happens, right? You like, okay, you go, you lock the doors, you stop being PC, and it keeps getting worse and worse. And then what? You go back to this fucking doctor? Well, that's the thing. The problem is that the Republicans, they keep voting for these people because it doesn't matter. The thing, it's just so annoying, like that guy who wrote that message on my Facebook page, like, oh, you want to score political points. Everything is political with these effers, but like I said, it is political. It's about politics. It's about, we're in this boat because our politics is broken. I don't know if I say that correctly, but we are living in a broken system. It's broken by money and politics. It's broken by the tyranny of the minority. And enough. It's broken by fascism, the Republicans, the inability for them to lead the people they pretend to represent into and encourage them, because if they are leaders, this is another thing that proves that they hate America. If you are a leader, if you're in a position of authority, you have an obligation not to incite your community with lies, and you have an obligation. If you're one of the things that they keep saying, that these Republicans keep saying, that makes it so clear that they are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. They really are. They're just a bunch of squatters on the government dole that do nothing. Because they keep saying you can't legislate this away. Well, what the fuck are you doing there? Get out. But the problem is people keep voting for them. It's like they keep voting for these quacks that tell you to lock your door. Some door wasn't locked. Well, I mean, the guy has an assault weapon. I cannot take this. I cannot take Ted Cruz, who keeps voting for him and sending him into power where he could do a podcast That's all he does. Podcasting, lying, and appearing in the NRA to tell us that the problem is the fucking doors. The doors. There's so many problems. It's like, but you're misdiagnosing it on purpose because, it's like it's because I don't know, with the doctor metaphor, what would it be? That you're getting paid to, that the industry of, it's just about greed. It's about their greed, their political survival, and not the survival of their fellow Americans. They don't care who's weeping tonight. I mean, doesn't it harm us all as a society and as a species that we continue to allow this grief to manifest, this needless death and grief? There are parents who will never be the same. How do you, when you look at the pictures of those children and you imagine the parents sending these children off to school. I'll see you later, honey. Have a good day at school. And they are murdered needlessly in something that is entirely preventable. But it won't be preventable. It's not, because they won't prevent it because they're fucking getting paid. And that's what it comes down to. They're getting paid by this evil, disgusting NRA, this evil, disgusting gun lobby that is poison, that is just poison in the body politic. And I keep asking, how much longer are we going to take it? We will continue to take it until we fight. I don't know. We got to legally and peacefully. But when I saw that article of Beto O'Rourke saying how the NRA, the attendees at the NRA are not our enemy, I'm like, no, they are. They are the problem. They are being encouraged. They're being taught that their freedoms depend on fuckers walking around with assault weapons. And yeah, they're our enemies. Because they're a poison. They're spreading this virus into our system. Oh, Jesus Christ. I hit the fucking... Did I do that? I screwed up again. What time did I start the show? Anyway, I think the show is over, but... I'll keep going for a couple of minutes. Unbelievable. I hit the goddamn... I must have hit something. It stopped the timer. Oh, how long was I in the Army? It was a few years. Just the National Guard. That's all. Not the regular Army. So, but it was an interesting experience. I do not regret it. It was, I learned a lot about myself, about everything, about life. And, that's what life is about, right? Experiences, doing things, pushing yourself. Yeah, but let me see. Hold on. To finish up with this Daily Kos thing. About the Republican minority rule in the Senate has already had far-reaching consequences, like we were saying, 5 Supreme Court justices and all these other lower court justices, and were confirmed by Senates where the GOP majority, quote-unquote, was elected with less popular vote than Democrats. And you know what? The Democrats, this is what drives me crazy. Please, I hope the Democrats are listening. Why don't you say this? You have to, every time you talk, you have to say, and these Republicans pull their dirty tricks and walk around like they have a mandate. You have to remind the American people, no, they don't have a mandate. And okay, you know, I know I'm all over the place, but the fact is, let's get back to this fucking O'Rourke. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke spoke at a pro-gun control rally outside the NRA convention on Friday, where he urged NRA supporters and protesters not to see each other as the enemy. To those who are attending the NRA convention across the street, you are not our enemies and we are not yours. Now, these are the people that, like I said, cannot even say Democratic Party, right? They're the ones calling Democrats terrorists, and they don't negotiate with terrorists. They're the ones trying to, you know, kidnap governors and things like that. The NRA has been facing backlash for hosting its convention in Texas after the deadly elementary school shoot. I mean, come on. Even that term, the deadly elementary school shooting, which wasn't even the worst, you know? It's just the next. It's not the first. It's not the last. It's just the next. Governor Greg Abbott pulled out of the scheduled appearance, but he sent in a video thing. We are extending our hand and unarmed. Wait. We are extending our hand open and unarmed in a gesture of peace and fellowship to welcome you to join us. Yeah, good. Keep dreaming. When they go low, we go high. To make sure this no longer happens in our country. O'Rourke and other Democrats re-upped calls for stricter gun control since the Texas school shooting and the shooting at a supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York, that killed 10 people. The former presidential candidate made headlines earlier this week when he approached Abbott during a press conference. You are doing nothing, O'Rourke said. And they weren't. That's why he interrupted, and that's how we have to do it. Keep interrupting. You know what I mean? The shootings have spurred talks in the Senate about potential gun control measures, but they all went home, you know, because that's what you do when you don't really give a shit. And Republicans in the upper chamber have appeared open to discussions. Well, that'll wear off. Trust me. That's what they're doing. That's why they went home. They're biding their time. The time for you to respond and join us is now. We cannot wait any longer. Those who will be the victims of the next mass shooting, unless we act, are counting on us at this moment. So please join us now or be left behind, O'Rourke said. Give me, really, honestly, the reason it annoys me is that, come on, get real, please. Maybe this was acceptable 50 years ago, but, you know, pining for them. But have you been paying attention, Beto? I'm not saying go out there and say these are our enemies, but don't be such a Pollyanna. Fight them. I don't care. They're propagandized. They're not coming around to reality anytime soon. You're talking about NRA people that went to an NRA convention. You understand? In all of the aftermaths of all of these shootings that never stop. And they made they bought tickets. They called up the event. They got on their list. They bought whatever they had to do to register. They went, they got hotels. They traveled there. They took their bone bags to this effing death mill convention for what? This is what they do in their spare time because it's fun. They love guns that much. They took time off of work. You know what I mean? To go to an NRA convention, this dying death mill of greed and corruption and stupidity and avarice and hatred and indifference. That's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Like it's as vile a convention as the KKK convention or the CPAC convention in Hungary. Scummy. But you're not our enemy? Like I said, I'm not saying go out there and say these are our enemies. I wouldn't do that. But I would say you don't be so don't be ridiculous, frankly. To me, that's on par with Nancy Pelosi saying, please take back your party, Republicans, because the American people need such a great Republican Party that's done so much good for America, that they've done so much good, we can't think of one thing, but okay. As if that's going to manifest. It's sort of like The Secret, right? You just think about it, you feel like it's happening, and then it happens. But unfortunately, that's not reality. Yes, let's think, oh yes, you're not our enemy. The NRA, which has done so much good for America. Take back your NRA attendees, because the American people need a strong NRA that's done so much good, right? Give me a break. God. Well, anyway, I'm Tara Devlin. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. And we need it. We need more of it. So if you can, please support the independent liberal media at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And we will win. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy. We stick together. We win. We know that. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out in the greatest chat room, and we'll keep it going. I'll see you soon. All right, guys, I hope we had some good therapy tonight. Thank you all for hanging out. Like I said, this week coming up is going to be a tight schedule, so I will probably I don't know. I'll probably only be able to do a show. I'm shooting for Wednesday, but if someone becomes a patron, like I said, we will do a show. So if you become a patron on Monday, we'll do a show Monday night, or Tuesday night. You know what I mean? I'm trying here. Thank you, Jim. Jim says, good show. Thank you. I hope the technical difficulties were, I don't know, not too annoying. And my mispronunciations and whatnot of M16s or AR-15s. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much. Like I said, thank you, Richard, for your super chat, and Jim, always, you're the best. Thank you so much. And thank you, Winston. Winston says it's always good therapy, Tara. Thank you. I agree. We just getting together, you know what I mean? To with other normal people. It's a salve on my soul. That's true. Richard W. says, not just the National Guard. You would have to go to war if required. They are equally important. Yes, I agree. Well, you train, with the regular army. So you train it's for real. It's not like Army Junior or anything. It's just because they kick your ass just as much. Guys. All right, let me go because I'm gonna have to. Because of my F up with time, I'm gonna have to cut the show. It takes longer. It's annoying, but like I said, whatever. We're doing it. We do it anyway, and I hope somehow we reach people who need to hear it, and take our talking points and take our unapologetic attitudes. Enough is enough. So that's how you win. You don't win by, you know what I mean? Like, just Beto O'Rourke saying that, it's sort of like you're coming from a position of weakness, too. It's like, no, you don't. It's like you're begging them or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm misguided there, but I don't think so. Enough. Like I said, not to just don't, not like you say, okay, you're my enemy, but they're not our friends. They are not our friends. We don't need them. The NRA constituency? Is that what you're doing? You're trying to get the NRA to what? Vote Democratic? Is that? I guess that's what Beto is trying to do. Please, it's so annoying how Democrats do that. They think that the Republicans are going to be, oh yeah, I think I'll vote for that Democrat. No, they won't. All right, I gotta go. Let Tara Jr. out of the bedroom. Give little Ray Ray a kiss. And remember, we can all get to, if you want, we have our Discord page. Link in the description. You can hang out there. I'd love to see pictures. I love to see your pets. We have our pet section. That's always nice. And, all right, I'm going to go. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much, everybody. What? Whose birthday is it? Errol? It's your birthday? Why didn't you tell me? The Army Junior. Yes, exactly. Is it Errol's birthday? What? I would have done a birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Errol. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Many, many more. Thank you, Errol. It's so great to have you as part of the Tarabuster community. And everyone else, thank you so much. Really. I look forward to seeing you virtually every time we start the show. I love to see your little avatars and your monikers and your incredible commentary. It really is inspiring. So thank you, Errol. You really do make this community. You make it what it is. You're a solid OG Tarabuster, part of the community, and much love. all my love for your wonderful birthday. And all I got to say is thank you for being born. We need about 1 million more of you. And thank you for being born in this time with me in the last days of the American Republic. And maybe we can do something about it. Who was born in 67? Besides me. Thank you, Haiku. All right, my friends, I'm going to go. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Errol, for being born. My name is Tara Devlin. Let's all thank Errol for being born. And I will see you. Become a patron. We'll see you sooner than Wednesday, but in that case, I'll see you very soon.